Welcome to episode 3 of our look at Marvel Comics published in South Africa. Today we'll be looking at Wolverine issue 3. A literal demon from Wolverine's past makes its appearance. It's trying to revenge its death at the hands of Wolverine many years ago. Ghost Rider makes his appearance to help fight this ancient evil. Will the two heroes be able to defeat this foe? Find out on today's episode. Let's go! Wolverine number 3, or Wolverine 89 in America. We get another great cover implying we are up for something heavy in this issue, titled The Mask of Ogun. As always, we start with Ads Watch, as we have a new ad for the X-Men cartoon playing on TV at the time. We also get the returning Lego ad, and of course we have Edgar's and Willard's back again as always. As well as we have Simba back again from the previous issue. But we also get a new ad this time for the Double Dragon live action movie. One of the worst, most disappointing movie experiences from my childhood. But it does seem that Meteor Press is getting more advertisers interested, which is a great sign. There's also an ad from Meteor Press themselves for, quote, Wolverine workers. It's a request for research staff basically, people with large collections of back issues of American comics, to, quote, delve into Wolverine's shadowy past. It's a request for research staff basically. They're looking for people with large collections of back issues of American comics to, quote, delve into Wolverine's shadowy past. This is a bit strange to me, that a publishing company who has a deal with Marvel doesn't have access to some kind of information pack or press kit or something. They really need to source this information from their audience and not Marvel themselves. We also get some bad news as soon as we open up the comic. Adam Kubert, the usual Wolverine artist, is not involved in the art of this book at all. In the previous issue, we only had half the book drawn by Adam, with the other half being drawn by a guest artist, Fabio Laguna. This issue we get a full dose of Fabio, and to be fair, it is a bit better than what we got in the previous Wolverine number 2. He isn't a bad artist overall, but I do miss the small background details that Adam Kubert put in, like the guys playing cards on the rooftop in the first issue, and the actress getting ketchup squirted on her for fake blood from issue 2. This issue is called The Mask of Ogun. The smell of the industrial Jersey marshlands greets me like a friendly old wind. It's the smell of the outskirts of the tri-state area. It means the old Canicle Head is getting close to home. Home is where folks care. They can love you or they can hate you, but whichever way, it really matters. Funny, it took a man dying of the legacy virus to show me the way home. $4 toll, right? Here's your Susan B. Anthony's. 4 in the morning. Even the toll booth attendants on the George Washington Bridge are snoozing. So I had to look up the Susan B. Anthony reference. She was a renowned social reformer who appears on the 1979 issue of the US dollar coin. This coin was later replaced by the Sacagawea dollar coin in the 2000s. This issue's guest star Ghost Rider shows up. He was one of the first Marvel characters I was ever introduced to, so it was great seeing his cameo here. Ghost Rider tells Logan he was drawn here by an occult evil energy with Wolverine's name on it. Logan doesn't care much for Ghost Rider's metaphors, and he points out they're about to hit a split in the highway. If Logan turns left, it's up to New York, to the X-Men's mansion, and Sabretooth. And if he heads right, he will go on an adventure with Ghost Rider. Since Logan almost died on his last adventure, Ghost Rider's odds are not looking very good. Of course, Ghost Rider manages to say the right words, Ogun, and that gets Wolverine's attention. So the backstory here. Ogun was Logan's sensei when he was training in Japan. Ogun became obsessed with the dark arts, and at one point he tried to steal Logan's friend's soul, which makes Logan go berserk. He completely gives into his animalistic side and he kills his former master. I don't think Wolverine regrets the deed as much as he regretted losing his self-control. And a sense of self-control is what Logan tried to instill in Wolverine when he was teaching him in Japan. Back to the present as we cruise through the mean streets of Manhattan on the way to wherever Ghost Rider is taking us. Now we have to first criticize the artist Fabio a bit here. Look at Ghost Rider's bike here. That's a bit rough, right? It looks like he's riding a bread bin. And what's happening to the car in this panel? Is this man punching a dent in it? I don't really get what's trying to be conveyed here. Why is Ghost Rider's head just hanging in midair? There's no hint of bike or body below him. It's just a floating skull. It turns out Ghost Rider is taking Logan to the Metropolitan Museum. And as Logan points out, what's the point of asking the where and the why of what's happening right now? If a flaming skeleton on a motorbike picks you up, it's probably going to be something important, so why waste time worrying, right? And here I just need to go on a sidetrack and just point out the general antisocial behavior of superheroes. In the first comic, we looked at Wolverine coming to a bar where all the lights were off, the doors were closed, and yet he and Gambit just smashed through the front window because things were too quiet, according to them. In the second comic, in order to look at the cuts on his face, Wolverine rips a cab driver's rear view mirror off. And then he rips the cab door off and rides it like a surfboard. That guy's going to have to pay for that, dude. In this comic, he and Ghost Rider, a guy on a bike with wheels literally made of hellfire, just drive up the marble stairs of the Metropolitan Museum. Okay, cool, but then you think they'd just park and walk in, right? Nope. They drive through the museum side by side. Again, wheels made of hellfire. What does the museum have to do with my long-dead mentor, Ogun? It was the shedding of innocent blood that drew me to the museum. I found the entire building permeated with an evil mystic aura. The empty halls reverberating with a thin echo of your name, Logan, as if some revenant wraith, unshriven and lost, was intoning a malicious mantra. How did you know I was coming? How did you know to wait for me at the bridge? He who waits for you here knew of your arrival, and I sensed his longing for confrontation. There are only so many routes across the river to Westchester, and I reasoned you would choose the one with a view. In a previous mini-series called Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, released in 1984, we first learned about the man who became Ogun. He seemed to be a solid guy, handpicking Wolverine to train with him, but then he discovered the secrets of immortality and became the demon Ogun. Back to the present again, and we see there is an exhibition of Japanese treasures of the martial tradition at the museum, and they have a long-lost artifact Wolverine thought he destroyed, the Mask of Ogun. Now, not to shit on the artist Fabio yet again, but my god, man, this is supposed to be a big reveal, the demon Mask of Ogun that Wolverine crushed in his own hands after killing Ogun. Now it's here on display in America. How? Not just is this big reveal done in a corner panel, but half the mask is covered by the panel in front of it. Why not like a big splash page of it? Wolverine reveals he loved his sensei like a father, and he put him down like a dog. They hear something in the Japanese armor exhibit, but it was just to draw the two away so that Ogun can come reclaim his mask and sword. We get a cool shot here of Wolverine in costume. And again, no big splash panel to reveal the demon Ogun, he just shows up in a corner panel. Ghost Rider throws his chains at him, and Ogun performs a classic projectile deflect with his sword. And we also get the most intuitive action panel Fabio has probably ever drawn in his life. Wolverine takes a swipe and Ogun leaps over. As we saw time and again so far, Fabio's action panels don't always make sense, so this is a miracle. But unfortunately, Fabio doesn't deserve any of the praise, because the one clear flowing action sequence in this comic is just a callback to the Kitty Pryde and Wolverine miniseries. Next, for some inexplicable reason, in the middle of the fight with Ogun, Ghost Rider decides to get back on his bike. Why? Wolverine is still on foot. It's a cool visual, but it makes no sense. Ogun tells Wolverine that their fates are intertwined. Wolverine is destined to kill Ogun over and over, as it is Ogun's fate to die by Logan's hand over and over. As he puts it, it is the fate of the scientific warrior to be devoured by the untamed beast. Awesome shot here of Ogun that really gives the sense this thing is a demon. It's shown in the original series that yes, he is a man wearing a mask, but when he has the mask on, he becomes a demon. The idea that Ogun is a demon is immediately ruined by the next shot where the demon has a mouth full of spittle and straight human teeth. Fabio uses the same visual cue in a previous panel with a human, spittle and straight teeth. I don't know why the spit bothers me so much. Demons can have spit, right? I just feel like this shot kind of... I don't know. We get a flashback scene and we see Wolverine in training with his sensei Ogun. We also see Ogun human for the first time. This has to be hands down the least Japanese looking man I've ever seen. He said those same words in that bamboo grove on the mountainside. Attack me, Logan-san. We were fencing with the wooden practice swords called bokken. I am unarmed. But sensei, I said attack. And I did. But the bamboo blocked my every thrust. And every time I missed, Ogun swatted me with his open hand. A mere slap, you say? A master like Ogun can kill a full-grown water buffalo with one slap. He could have stopped. I would have got the point after 3 or 4 slaps, but he just kept wailing on me. I lost it. The animal inside me got loose. It was like a red fog rolled over me, and all of a sudden it was me doing the wailing. And I didn't stop for a good long time. Sensei, forgive me, Ogun-sensei, what have I done? Ogun says, you have won, Logan-san. But was it the man or the beast who won? I mean, what a total dick. Ogun just had his ass kicked, and rightfully so, and he still has to make some little dig at Logan while he's lying bleeding on the floor. You started this, Ogun. Logan just gave you what you asked for, bud. Through this story, we are introduced to a really important part of Wolverine's character. This idea that at his core, Wolverine is just a wild animal, and he's always trying to control that wild side of himself, to not let it take over. But that isn't necessarily shown in an ultimately noble manner in the comics, because just like, say for instance, the Hulk, Wolverine is at his best when he goes berserk. Or rather at his strongest, like that's always the ace up his sleeve. But that's subjective, I guess. Going berserk makes him a great fighter, but not necessarily a great person. You won't want to be like that in your normal day-to-day life, right? You don't want to give in to your basest instincts. I'll have Ogun summarize here. We all have these two natures constantly in conflict with each other. The true master has them in perfectly balanced opposition, permitting neither to gain the upper hand. This is called walking the sword's edge between heaven and hell. And now the final scene plays out. It's a memory, like a freight train speeding through my head, flashing by and gone before I know it. Am I forgetting something? Where's his sword? He threw it away. No, he threw it straight up. How many seconds ago? Where is it coming down? Ghost Rider manages to save Wolverine from the sword heading straight at him. The beast ain't winning this time, Ogun. You taught me too well. I'm walking the sword's edge now. I'm splitting the difference. Wolverine grabs the sword in the rebound, and he bifurcates the mask of Ogun. The mask falls in two pieces, and I catch a fleeting glimpse of the face behind it, before it vanishes into smoke and dust, and the empty armor collapses like a puppet with cut strings. That was you in the armor, or some sort of doppelganger. I thought you said it was Ogun. It was Ogun. It was Ogun the sorcerer, reaching out from beyond the grave to attack me with part of myself. But he forgot that he taught me about balancing the animal and the rational mind in myself. Or maybe the dead can't remember. Cut to poor old Gambit, stuck at the X-Men's mansion with the psychopath Sabretooth. We learn Sabretooth is being kept in a cell behind an energy field. We get a great paragraph here that really paints a picture of what an asshole Sabretooth is. Yeah, you go tell that little sword off runt Mr. Ain't Got the Metal No More Logan. That old Creed is just waiting on him. I can't help but think back to what Logan said about Sabretooth in the first issue. He's got the sheer guts and total lack of fear to try some nigh impossible things and pull them off. So we are now all set up for the final confrontation between Wolverine and Sabretooth in issue number 4. My expectations at this point were sky high as a kid. I already saw the violence the comics was capable of in issue 2, and each comic has set up a different bit of character development for Wolverine. In the first comic, Wolverine makes peace with his past. The second issue, his healing factor has come back to good working condition, and he becomes a hero again, saving 2 people. And in this issue, we see Wolverine in full control of his animalistic side, his berserker rage. And before we go, one last complaint about Fabio, the artist, and it's a massive one. The cover. What the hell is going on here? What is that thing? That is not Ogun.